Good afternoon, everybody. It's 11:05. This is the AgYield War Room. I'm Dan Dempsey, and I'll be moderating this session. Real quickly here, March corn down 9 cents, 448 and 3/4. March soybeans off 22 at 1214 and 3/4. And March Chicago wheat's up 2 1/4 at 606. We just a couple minutes ago we had the release of the USDA report, much anticipated. A couple of quick highlights. Corn yield 177.3, I think was a big shock to some in the trade. It's a pretty significant increase from where they were at in November and what the trade estimate was looking for. Soybeans came back at 50.6, which also was significantly higher than the estimate. We've got some world numbers we're going to talk about, bigger picture. To start this and kick this off, I'm going to go right over to Justin for some initial thoughts, and we'll build upon that. So take it away, Justin.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I mean, obviously, nothing too friendly here. World stocks, U.S. stocks, yields kind of all went up. Been pretty bearish going into it. The market's act pretty sluggish going into the report, but it kind of verified that we have plenty of supply. Nothing too exciting here. The question is just, how much of this is baked in, kind of see where we settle. Probably a little surprised, on some of these numbers, but if you look at like the world numbers of corn, most of the big increases came from China's crop, which we knew a couple of days ago was going to be bigger. But no matter how you look at it, it's not very friendly. That's kind of, I think, shows why we've had this kind of counter seasonal week. New contract lows today. Wish there's something more optimistic to talk about. And now it's just a matter of, have we broke far enough? Do we run into some demand? But in the short run, it doesn't look too pretty.
Yeah, that's good stuff. There's going to be a big so what conversation that's going to be had for the rest of the afternoon as we go into the weekend. Especially it's a longer weekend. We'll start trade Monday evening. But as you look at live markets, March beans down 27, new crop is down 15.5, corn down 9 to 10 across the board. But, new crop December 24 corn now hovering right about that 480 level, just over at 482.5. There's going to be a so what element. Where do we go from now until ultimately the next large report in March, which is going to give us our intended acres here in the States. And, by all estimation, we still got a big undersold corn position for the American grower right now.
Yeah, I think like we talked about this morning, that's just going to be the bigger problem. There wasn't a big shock here to bail anybody out. I think that's going to be the downer for a lot of people that are, have to start moving corn. They, for cash needs. We know there's a lot out there. I think everybody's hoping for some kind of something to turn the market here or help change or get some kind of a rally, and we didn't get it. So it's a tough question, but right now the trend's down, right? Trend's down. There's no doubt about that. We're making contract lows. Path of least resistance is down. People are in a bad position. So I wish there was something better to talk about. I mean, something can always change, and maybe we factored in and bottom today. I have no idea, but right now it's not looking too optimistic for a major rally, I wouldn't say.
Right. Ben, you got a perplexed look. Initial thoughts on your side from the East Coast?
Yeah, I think it just, reinforces the mindset that for now, until something changes, rallies are going to get sold. It doesn't mean we're not going to have them, right? It just means that they'll be short-lived. And one of the hardest things that you can do is be defensive against your position and trade it. And I think that's where we're at today. And it doesn't necessarily fix all your wounds, but it definitely makes them less severe. And I think it's something that a lot of times people have a hard time doing and a hard time wrapping their head around. But it's today's numbers definitely suggest that that's where we're at moving forward.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate that. Live markets, March beans down 28 at 1208.5. Corn still pretty solidly down 10 to 7 in the new crop. Dustin, a couple of initial thoughts from your desk as we move it around here a little bit.
It is being led by the old crop corn market, right? Your March D spreads are making new lows here, 35 under. The larger production number shows up in the stocks numbers as well. So stocks numbers are always going to be the most important part about this. Corn stocks came in 12.168 billion, and we're expecting as an industry 12.05 billion. There's obviously a lot of those individual estimates we talked about in the letter a little bit that were quite low. I think the Reuters numbers, left that really low number out, but in the 11s. So that's just kind of confirmation that the corn crop was grown, and that we have an old crop supply problem. The WASDE number doesn't really reflect that yet. WASDE is still projecting a 2.162 billion bushel carryout. So they still have they actually ended up raising usage a little bit. The USDA economists raised usage by looks like 75 million bushels to get to that number from the higher stocks. The bean stocks notably were still below 3 billion bushels. They're 2.999 billion bushels. And that's actually 22 million bushels less than we had at this time last year. It's about 24 million bushels more than the average analyst was calling for. So bean stocks, obviously we know that we're in a global market. To our conversation earlier, there is another good sized crop coming out of South America, and that's largely why the market's capable of dropping right now. Otherwise, 3 billion is not an overly abundant number for December 1. It's abundant enough for U.S. crush demand to, at least what the market's perceiving, to be fine, and the fact that Brazil is going to come in and resupply the market.
That's good stuff. I'd say one thing we haven't talked about, and just we'll touch on it briefly here, but all winter wheat plantings, which we had discussed yesterday, that could potentially be an eye opener for the report, came back at 34.4, which was about 1.3 million lower than the estimate. And if you look at it, wheat's the best thing on the board right now in terms of hanging in there relative to corn and beans right now. Any final parting shots here, guys, as we wrap this one and go to the weekend? Final thoughts on the report. I think we've kind of dressed it up a little bit here, but
no, just by the end of the day, things could be a whole lot lower than here, or they, like Justin said, it could turn higher. It just depends on what the market was pricing in prior to coming into this report. The initial reaction, obviously, was that the market was not expecting this. So we'll have more of a write-up as we digest these numbers even a little bit further than 10 minutes into it, but that'll be in our nightly commentary.
Yeah, I would say too, just looking at market structure, you have a pretty decent short in corn and wheat. Beans are kind of neutral to just starting to get short, so it might technically might pressure the beans even a little bit more in the short run, just because I think it's 3 weeks ago, everyone's kind of ramped up for the Brazil drought, right? So I think there's a lot of longs that we've been working through and kind of running in. So beans probably, in my opinion, have just near-term risk because of just market structure alone, nothing else. But
no, very good. And as Dustin mentioned, we'll have initial analysis as we digest some of this stuff. Things are moving pretty quick. I'll give you one last update here. March corn down 11 1/4, 446.5. March soybeans down 27 3/4. 1208 3/4 is the last. And March Chicago wheat's down 4 1/4 now, 599.5. Appreciate everybody tuning in to this special edition of the War Room here today. We will be back with you Tuesday morning. Markets will be closed Sunday night. They will reopen Monday night, and we'll be back on Tuesday morning, 8:15 Central Time. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about on the report and what the path forward is here. So everybody have a great weekend. Stay safe out there if you're in the path of these storms, and we'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.
Thanks, sir.
thank you.
Thanks, Dan.